So the Burning Man organization sent a note out to Mutant Vehicles that they wanted to create an experiment. They want to create an area way out. If you took K Street past 10, like to 11, 12, 12:30, way out there, they want to make an area that's kind of meant for the really loud art cars to go out there, and they can stay as long as they want. They can stay all night and kind of create all-night parties out in this, like, kind of like how it used to be when there was a rave camp. There used to be a rave camp that was way far away. And unfortunately, the way that this news was shared with the community was through burners.me, which I enjoy that site tremendously, and I also get frustrated with the tone. Because the way that this was presented was, and the way that people have been whipping into a frenzy, is that with anger about this new set of rules, and this is coming on the heels of the Dance-tronauts getting banned, which was also, the word banned was the way that burners.me wrote it, and the war on EDM, the war on electronic dance music that's going on at Burning Man right now. And I kind of wish that the organization would speak out and explain and share the thought process a little bit better, more publicly, because it's kind of like we're getting the news initially from Fox, and it's got this slant and this taint, and by the time we kind of learn what's going on, we've gone through all this process of frustration and anger, and we worked up a story about what them and they have done. Now, I get the frustration that people have with any set of new rules at Burning Man. What's the whole point of going out into the middle of nowhere if you have to then, follow all these rules and regulations so you don't get in trouble? But the kind of lawlessness of Burning Man has been gone for a while. And for the last several years, part of the experiment of Burning Man has been, how do we preserve this freedom? How do we preserve the magic while also dealing with all of the pressures from being a mainstream event, from having the attention of the authorities, from having, crowds of people, from having, additional lawsuits, all the things that plague the mainstream world, are and have been creeping into this, utopia in the desert. And so how do we keep peace of it? And so I think a big challenge of the organization is trying to balance those things and trying to make rules or adjust things in a way to try to preserve what they can. And so I think I have a lot of sympathy. So I'm going to assume that this new rule is in response to a bunch of people's complaints about what is not working at Burning Man. And I have a different philosophy about art cars and about large-scale music than I think many people do. When I started going to Burning Man, it was just the very beginning of dance camps, and I've seen the difference, with the whole vibe of the city. I mean, there's a reason why people often assume that Burning Man is a music festival, because huge amounts of effort and huge amounts of money and huge big-name DJs all come and perform. And there are people that go with their, their set lists and just go to check out the rock stars that they want to see. And that's a very different mindset about the whole idea of we're all participants. I mean, if you were going around to see performances from your favorite bands and performers, that is an audience and a performer vibe. The magic of Burning Man is that there's no difference between stage and audience, that we are all contributing, we're all participating. That isn't to say that you can't enjoy someone's performance, but to elevate that performer is problematic. That's my first problem with the state of electronic dance music at Burning Man, is that it's gone to the realm of rock stars. As just happened, the Mayan warrior car kind of got in a little bit of trouble with Maid Marian because they published their set list of the DJs that were going to play on their car, And she said, hey, don't do that, because what that does is that creates this kind of, it makes it so that you're kind of trying to draw people in to an event that's already sold out. You're increasing, the desire for tickets. You're increasing the value of tickets, perhaps, and you're kind of telling people who aren't going to be able to go what they're going to be missing in that kind of old school rock star, rock show way. And she said it much better. But I agree. I think that the idea of publishing big names and publishing set lists in advance to people, and so I don't like it. That isn't to say, like, if you run a camp and you're going to be playing and it's kind of a big deal for you, like, I would argue that there are hundreds more amazing DJs at Burning Man that you have never heard of that could fill all the time slots. If we didn't have anybody famous ever play, there would still be incredible, awesome music. And it'd be playing from people who, when they got off stage, they would then serve you a drink at the bar, and then they would help you put up your tent because they would be part of the community. That being said, Oakenfeld, if you hear this and you want to pull me in the VIP area, totally, give me a wristband, bro. All right. The other problem I have with electronic dance music or large-scale sound is that it is so invasive, or it has the potential to be so invasive. Like, if you are a large-scale sound camp and they've placed them on the edges, which was a decision that happened years ago, and with music pointing outwards, because it is inflicted upon you. If you have to go there, but once you do go there, you experience their sound. A mobile art car with a massive sound system has the ability to inflict some pretty intense experiences on you, no matter where you are, to the point that I think they can even be dangerous. I feel like I'm starting to get, what's it called, tinnitus? And I'm not even a big music person, and I never really think about, but this year at Burning Man, I am bringing earplugs. So the thought that we need to make some rules about potentially health-damaging vehicles in being a part and affecting, and it's kind of like if you were one person with a megaphone and you ruined or changed the experience at a piece of art, the crowd there could probably, police itself and quiet you down or make you move. But a massive art car, like, that's a force to be reckoned with. That a bunch of people trying to dance or do a performance or something, I get why there has to be more rules, because not everybody wants a boom boom soundtrack to their entire Burning Man experience. I get it. Burning Man isn't about getting what you want. But can't it be about most people getting more of what they want? Can't we make some guidelines and rules so that people who want booming systems have a way of getting it, and people that are sensitive? Like, my mom very much enjoyed Burning Man, but a loud dance experience was something that she checked out and then was done with. So isn't it fair to give her a way to experience Burning Man without seeing that anymore? Like, I think I don't actually know, but I'm pretty sure that I know there's a lot of rule on flame things. Like, if you've got a fire cannon, there's rules about how you can use it. And if you get it too close to me, to the point that I have to move, well, that's totally uncool, and you should lose your right to have a fire cannon. And the same is true with a sound cannon. The fact that it's art to you doesn't mean that you should be able to inflict it and force it on everyone else. I guess the same could be true with shirt cockers, but now we're getting into some slippery slope categories. So right now, the way I understand this new rule is that right now an art car has to move at least every 3 hours. The idea is art cars should not go out, park, and become a structure or a party all night. You have to keep moving. However, this new rule means if you do want to be that, if you want to be like a destination, if you want to have your car be like an all-night party, this is a place for you to do it. and you won't totally disrupt, any other part of, a sculpture, an installation, or anything. And so it's an attempt to try to let everybody win. Are we heading down the dangerous path of more and more rules? Maybe. Are we already to a point where we need more rules? Maybe. We are right on the edge of massive injuries and chaos. And so I think that the part of the Burning Man experiment is finding ways, whether it's through principles or rules, to keep the magic alive without totally banning or totally, trying to foster all of the beautiful things that happen there. And sometimes that means a little bit of pruning or a little bit of redirecting, but trying to let it still be organic, however, in the same way that a garden is planted with some plan. So this is going to give shade to that. This isn't going to take up too much water from here. The same kind of thought needs to go into city planning and event planning. All that being said, I do hope and urge the Burning Man organization and all those who are making these decisions to be a little bit more transparent in the process so that people can understand the motivations, can understand the desired outcomes, and to do so in a timely way so that we don't have to hear everything filtered through a level of interpretations and frustration. Somebody is going to be upset at every turn. Every announcement is going to make somebody upset. But a lot of people are stoked and super happy that there are people giving a lot of thought and love. All we need to hear is that these decisions are made from a place of thought and love. And we can continue to all work together to make something magical. So, thank you, all those who are making the hard decisions. Thank you, all those who are trying to navigate new structures and rules. Thank you for everyone who shares your light and your gifts. I will see you at home.